Hi everybody, welcome to the Garage, the Court of Public Opinion. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Did you see the blood moon? Who saw the blood moon last night? Well, not last night, but, well, really? Sunday night, Monday morning was the best time. I didn't get up, but I know people who did. Apparently it's quite spectacular. Something that's not spectacular, but just incredibly sad, ladies and gentlemen. Something that I would imagine one might see in Africa. 2 men hacked and stabbed to death with machetes, set upon by a group of 8. No, this is not Africa. This is a suburb called Cobblebank in Melbourne's western suburbs. The frightening thing is that the police suspect that it was mistaken identity. Oh, they killed the wrong people. Or a simple, here's another thought, a random attack for no reason whatsoever. 2 men. Well, no. One was a boy. He was 12 years old. 12 years. Who's going to kill a 12-year-old? 12-year-old. The other one was 15 years old. No apparent motive. This is the behaviour of black African gangs. This is what happens in Africa. Somehow we have managed to import this insanity into Australia. We will watch that with interest here in the Court of Public Opinion, believe me. Several books in the making, a documentary and a movie. I'm sort of betting that one of the books won't be a cookbook. But a lot of stuff upcoming. The incredible story of the mushroom killer, Erin Patterson. She has been tried and sentenced yesterday. The judge threw the book at her. 25 years for attempted murder, 33 years for each of the murders, to be served concurrently. She'll be in her 80s, 81, 82, before she is even eligible for parole. She will be virtually kept for her own safety in solitary confinement. Now, I've never been in jail, but I imagine that time might drag a bit. And that's a lot of time. A lot of time to contemplate what got her there. I must tell you, I got a strange message on the weekend, an email, and it said, from the 1st of October, if you are over, this is serious, if you are over the age of 60, you will be subject to a nightly driving curfew. From 10 o'clock at night till 5 o'clock in the morning, people over the age of 60 will be breaking the law if they're caught driving. Now, I don't believe it. There's a lot wrong with the email or the message. It could just be a silly scam, a joke, to annoy some people and frighten others. There could be some people who will take this very seriously, though. I don't. Lot wrong, I said? Well, it's totally discriminatory. Age discrimination is illegal in Australia. It's practiced, mind you. If you're over 50, you somehow become invisible. I don't know. And the other thing is that if this was to be applied nationally, and that's how the story goes, it would override state law. It's the states who control such things as driver's licenses. How would you possibly put a blanket condition on everybody's driver's license such as this? I'm inclined to just dismiss it, but I thought I would report it to you. A lot of strange things that look real, authoritative, can come through to you through email or indeed the internet generally. Be very careful what you read, what you take notice of. Indeed, be careful what you open. Now, this is interesting. We're going to follow that up this week on Friday morning. Burdekin Council in Queensland has banned any future welcomes to country ceremonies. The mayor, Perina Court, says no more. Enough is enough. And the local Aboriginals are in total agreement with her. We will have the Mayor of Burdekin on our show around the dining room table this coming Friday. and you can join us as well. I'll give you all the numbers and details in a little while, but I want to talk to you about this. You're not stupid. You are not stupid. I know you're not stupid. You wouldn't be tuned into this Facebook posting, indeed the live streaming show on a Friday morning, if you were stupid. I know you're not stupid. But there are people in this country who are dangerously stupid. Now, I get 3 of these calls a day from Indian call centres trying to sell me cheaper electricity. They want me to change my electricity provider. Like that's the problem. The truth is they're all as bad as each other. I exercise my vocal cords when I get these calls, explaining to the call centre that I have had enough. I have had enough of high electricity prices and therefore the high cost of living. They start out by saying, you know the price of electricity has gone up on the 1st of July. And I say, why? Taken aback. He says, well, it goes up the 1st of every July. I say, why? We have lots of renewables in South Australia which we are told are cheaper. Is the sun more expensive on the 1st of July every year? Is the wind more expensive on the 1st of July? They can't answer the question, of course. I suspect they sit there with a script and they follow the script. And it's not meant to have sort of conversation around the pitch. But I did find this fellow interesting the other day when I said to him, what do you pay? What do you pay for electricity in India? First he said, how do you know I'm in India? And I said, well, it's pretty obvious. Okay, he said, okay. I have a family of 5. He was quite honest. I have a family of 5. We pay 6 cents per kilowatt hour. 6 cents. And I said, do you know what we pay? Obviously you know what we pay. Between 45 cents per kilowatt hour and $1.20, sometimes $1.50. Don't you think that's a bit strange? Why do you think you have cheap electricity and we have expensive electricity? He said, I don't know. I said, I'll tell you. You burn our coal without criticism. We are not allowed to burn our coal. We have a stupid government. You build 1 coal-fired power station a month. China builds 1 a week. No criticism and cheap electricity. You and China have sensible governments, obviously, with an eye on the people's cost of living. We've got a bunch of clowns in Canberra who are happy to export our coal and gas to advantage China and India, who, by the way, produce the greatest share of emissions, as opposed to Australia, with the smallest contribution to global emissions, 1%. This government is quite happy to disadvantage its own people, send them bankrupt. I said to him, this guy at the call centre, get down on your knees tonight and thank God that you have a sensible, caring government. I so apologise that we have stupidly re-elected these idiots who impose upon us the most expensive electricity in the world to achieve absolutely nothing. When you open your electricity bill, ladies and gentlemen, and it's not just the electricity bill, it's everything you buy, everywhere you go, everything you do, it's all affected by ridiculously high, high-cost, expensive electricity, which is the work of Chris Bowen and his cohort of ideological idiots and the climate change net zero criminally insane disciples. Just think you could be paying 6 cents per kilowatt hour like they do in China and India instead of what we are paying at the moment. Are you happy with your electricity bill? Do you know who is responsible? Or more correctly, irresponsible? You have to reach a point when you open that envelope and you realise that we are being financially raped by this stupid Labor government to achieve absolutely nothing. If you bump into a Labor politician on the street, ask him why is India blessed with 6 cents per kilowatt hour for electricity and we're somewhere between 50 cents and $1.50. Makes absolutely no sense at all. If you think it does, please tell me how. What has this government done that you like so much that you're prepared to pay that kind of price for their stupidity? 0491 65 68 60 on Friday morning round the dining room table, jeremycordeaux.com. I am glad I got that off my chest. Here's something else. What is a chief executive worth? I thought to myself when Mr. Joyce left Qantas, even with most of his bonus intact, things would get back to normal. But no. The new CEO of Qantas has a paycheck totaling $6 million a year. Well, that is truthfully less than the leprechaun, but still far, far too much. I believe the world has gone mad. What's a chief executive worth? Elon Musk has asked his motor car company for $1 trillion over 10 years, I think it is. And he'll probably get it. Well, it's his company, I imagine. You might have a comment. 0491 65 68 60. How would you possibly spend $1 trillion? Doesn't make any sense. The world, as I say, has gone mad. The $500 million payout by the taxpayer to the victims of the robo-debt debacle, the victims of this Centrelink scandal. How many Centrelink scandals have we had? I've lost track. The largest cash settlement in our history, ladies and gentlemen. Question: how much of that money goes to the victims and how much to the class action lawyers? Will we ever know? Wouldn't you think one journalist would ask the question? Nope. Amazing pictures out of Beijing. The full impressive might of the Chinese fighting machine, which looked remarkably American. Its design, its appearance. I wonder how that happened. Anyway, there you saw, being greeted by Chairman Xi Jinping and just about every other tin-pot despot dictator you could possibly find in the world today, invited to a show designed to intimidate the West. What would Australians be doing there? Dan Andrews and Bob Carr. Well, I guess if you're known as Dictator Dan, I've kind of answered my own question, haven't I? Bob Carr at least had the sense not to attend the parade or the class photograph afterwards, as did the Indian Prime Minister. This is about a realignment of world order, a new world order, a spectacular power play by the Chinese. They hope to create a new dynamic involving all these totalitarian countries, dictatorships of mostly dubious reputation. No respect for human rights, no human rights at all, I wouldn't think. It'll be interesting to see what Trump does about this. I don't see how he can ignore it. President Xi is throwing down the gauntlet and clearly trying to get a new power bloc with great nuclear capacity, lined up against the United States, lined up against the free world, Western interests. Interesting that the Chinese army, 2 million men, large, but without any battle experience, never been under fire. But guess this was an obvious endorsement of crackpot dictators. You wouldn't want to be there, you wouldn't want to be seen there, you wouldn't want to be photographed there, would you? As for Bob Carr and Daniel Andrews, you are known, gentlemen, by your friends, the company you keep. You ought to be seen cozying up to North Korea, Iran, Russia, China, standing there in Tiananmen Square applauding a parade of deadly weapons clearly pointed at the West, on the same site as thousands of unarmed students, protesters, were murdered in cold blood by that same Chinese army just a few years ago. Have you forgotten that? The American response so far seems to be, I know, we'll change the name from the Defense Department to the War Department. Hee-haw! I don't know how that'll work. We're here with the best wishes of the rising sun, ladies and gentlemen. I dropped in there last Friday. Well, actually we did, didn't we?
We did.
We did. Had a glass of red, had a chat to Grant and Jackie. 83330721. The Rising Sun. Regularly chosen as the best pub or inn in South Australia. Been around since 1845, which makes, of course, 2025 a big year for them. And Elder Fine Art Gallery in Melbourne Street, North Adelaide. Big auction coming up. It'll be about, well, I'll give you plenty of notice, but it's probably about 2 months away, which means that Jim and Helen are out there scouting for paintings to hang on the wall and to sell to the world hungry for beautiful art. Give them a ring if you've got a beautiful painting or a painting that you'd like to get appraised. 8267-2869. 4 notable auctions a year. Now do call us on Friday, 0491 65 68 60, and you can get the program. If you can't get it on your computer, you can get it on your telephone, and you can have me in the palm of your hand. Simple Radio, it's called. That's the app. It's Simple Radio, and it will be wonderful. I'm very accessible. Now, happy birthday if you're having a birthday. Happy wedding anniversary. It is the 9th. Yeah. We're recording on the 8th, but this is the 9th. Colonel Sanders, American founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken, was born 1890. You know, he was 75 years old before he cooked a single chicken. You know, with these herbs and spices? That's a late start, but my God, he made up for it. 1890, September 9. He was a Virgo. Oh. Mary Stuart, at the age of 9 months. Yep, she was 9 months old. Crowned Queen of Scots in the central Scottish town of Stirling on this day in 1543. William Bligh, the British naval commander, mutinied against, if that's the expression, HMS Bounty, chucked him in a boat. He must have been a bloody good navigator to get out of that. 1754 was the year. Went on to become Governor of New South Wales. 2024, James Earl Jones, American Tony, Emmy, Grammy, Golden Globe winning actor, Star Wars. In fact, he was the voice of God. He was also the voice of CNN, as I remember it. Field of Dreams. He died at 93. Did have a wonderful voice. Beautiful baritone voice. Alexander Downer. Happy birthday, Alexander. 1951, Alexander Downer, Australian politician, Minister for Foreign Affairs, and in fact a guest in the Court of Public Opinion going back about 10 years. Came by and sat in the chair. We used to have a segment called Changing the World in 60 Seconds. We gave every guest, we might bring that back. It's a nice idea, it's an interesting idea. You've got to give people warning, of course. But how would you change if you got 60 seconds to change the world? We got some interesting plans. Ron Taylor, American shark expert, cinematographer, dies of leukemia at 78. It was 2012. The first fully mechanised unit of the British Army was created. It was the Canadian Automobile Machine Gun Brigade in World War I on this day in 1914. They used to I don't know what sort of vehicle it was, but they strapped a machine gun on the back. Beginning of great things. John Gorton, Australian politician, 19th Prime Minister of Australia, 68 to 71, born in Wellington, New Zealand, disputed. No time to fact check it, I'm afraid. He died in 2002, but he was born this day in 1911. I think we'll leave it there. Oh, Apple unveils the iPad Pro and the iPhone 6S in San Francisco on this day in 2015. Have yourself a lovely week. We'll talk to you on Friday morning, but we'll have another posting here on Facebook 9 o'clock on Thursday morning with all sorts of stuff. I have no doubt things will be happening between now and then. Believe in yourself. Thank you for joining us. The Court of Public Opinion will return. Bye for now.